وَقَبَائِلَ. We created you from what? Different races, different tribes. Within here you may have many people from Dar es Salaam, but there is the brown of Dar es Salaam, and the black of Dar es Salaam, and the white of Dar es Salaam, but they're all under the heading of Dar es Salaam, because some of them were born here, some of them immigrated here, some of them maybe expatriates here, whatever. The reality is we are all coming from different races and from different tribes. And Islam wanted to set the idea that the only thing which defines how great you are is taqwa, nothing else. That's why, as I said in my lecture a couple of nights ago in the majlis, I said that when Tawus al-Yamani saw Imam Zain al-Abidin near the Kaaba, and he saw him doing tawaf, and he saw him reading Salat al-Layl, and then he saw him falling on the ground, when he came to pick him up, he said, "You are the son of Fatima and Ali, you are the son of Hassan and Hussein. If you are crying in the night, then what do we do?" He said, "O Tawus, do you not know on the day of judgment that whether you are an Abyssinian slave or you are a high Arab Qurayshi, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not put you according to your tribe. He puts you according to your taqwa." Because it shattered the idea and it broke the highest people in Arabia. And that's why you found that Islam would not have been built were it not for the participation of people from Africa. Islam would not have been built were it not for the participation of people from Africa. That's why you find, for example, it's ironic, we are studying Luqman. Even Rasulullah had a slave in his house called Luqman. One of Rasulullah's slaves in the house was a black slave by the name of Luqman. And that's why when you look amongst the black people who had helped Rasulullah's message earlier on, you truly find some of the greats of the companions. For example, you find amongst the companions Bilal al-Habashi. Bilal was the slave of Umayyah bin Khalaf, and he was a renowned slave. Umayyah actually made him feel part of the family because his parents were already slaves of the family. Having been a slave, he heard that there was a man who had come with a message, and that this man was called the magician. Rasulullah, they used to call him Sahir, the magician. Bilal wanted to know why is he called a magician, and he found out because he calls to the oneness of God, and he calls about the prophethood of those who came before him. Bilal was noticing that while Umayyah bin Khalaf was not an idol worshipper, Umayyah bin Khalaf was like Abu Sufyan. They made money out of idol worshipping. Some people believe Abu Sufyan worshipped idols. Abu Sufyan didn't worship idols because Abu Sufyan is too arrogant to worship. Abu Sufyan would not put his head down to worship. That's impossible. Take this out of your mind. There are some people who think Abu Sufyan would actually go down and worship an idol. I do not believe Abu Sufyan went anything below the position of ruku' in his life. Do you know why? Because part of the reason the Arabs did not read Salah was because, according to them, the spine or the back should not go that low. And so therefore they found Salah as being something disgraceful. People like Abu Sufyan would not bow down, and certainly not to an idol. Do you know why Abu Sufyan would make idols? Because when the people would come from Syria or Yemen towards Mecca, these people were worshipping idols. You would come on a long journey, you've spent a lot of money, and you're going to spend time in Mecca. Abu Sufyan, Walid ibn al-Mughira, Al-Hakam ibn al-As, Umayyah bin Khalaf, this whole group, who subhanallah, the books of hadith said they all became Muslim later on. If Islam was that easy, let us all become Muslim. The whole group of them who were the enemies of Rasulullah, they would wait for these people, innocent people who have come to worship the idols. These people would spend all their money, like when you go on holiday for a period of pilgrimage, you spend your money, then you end up with no money. Abu Sufyan would come and say, "Do you have any money?" They would say, "No, we've run out." He said, "Okay, no problem, I'll loan you. I'll loan you. I'll give you a loan. Pay me back in 10 days. But if you don't pay me back, then there is a concept which I have to charge you on. Maybe £10 a day. Every day you're late, £10. Until you can pay me back." Now he knows they won't be able to pay him back, and he knows interest is going to be great for him. and they were known as the loan sharks. And then he'll put a gun to your head. You don't have any money, I have to take all your possession. What you found was that Bilal saw these people, but then he saw the mercy of Rasulullah. One day when Dar al-Nadwa, the parliament of Arabia, was sitting with each other, there was a rumor that one of our slaves has gone to join the Prophet. Each one is looking at each other, and then one of them says, do you know who it is? It's Umayyah's slave. Umayyah said, if it's my slave Bilal, I will torture him a way no Arab has seen. And he tortured him in a way which truly no Arab had ever seen. How many of you here have seen the film The Message? The torture they show in that film is that he puts him on the hot desert and then he puts a rock on top. That's not the torture, that's small amount. That's because a film has to show a limited amount. He would tie his feet and his hands with a chain and whip him. And he would put many rocks on his body. And he would let the children pull him through the streets on the desert of Arabia. Bilal, while being tortured, would only say, Ahad, Ahad, Ahad. One, one, one. And people would come past and see the way, to the extent that even Amr ibn al-As said, Bilal is being tortured too much. Now when Amr ibn al-As says you are being tortured a lot, you must be being tortured a lot. And so therefore, the person who brought Bilal out of slavery was Abu Bakr. Abu Bakr went to Umayyah because they were on good terms. And so when they were on good terms, he said to him that me and you have got a good relationship. Although of course Abu Bakr had come to Islam, but he was still on good terms with Umayyah. And so he said, me and you have got a good relationship, so please sort this out. Abu Bakr brought Bilal out of slavery. And Bilal became what? Mu'adhin. And as we said in the majlis, when he became the Mu'adhin, he would say, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Because he couldn't say Sheen. So when the Arabs started making fun of him, although some have become Muslim, they still had the racism in them. Rasulullah wanted to purify racism. Rasulullah said, the scene of Bilal is Sheen in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so Bilal continued reciting. The irony about Abu Bakr freeing him was that one day Bilal had a conversation with Abu Bakr after Rasulullah died. And when he had this conversation, Abu Bakr said to him, the conversation was with Umar on behalf of Abu Bakr. Umar says, you do not pledge your allegiance to Abu Bakr when Abu Bakr is the one who freed you. Bilal said, if he freed me and wants me to serve him, I will go and serve him now. If he freed me so that I could pledge allegiance to him, then I am only pledging allegiance to the man Rasulullah chose. You either freed me because you had the right intention, I will serve you, no problem. But if it's because you want me to give bay'ah, there was a man chosen by Rasul. If it was him, then Malik bin Nuwayr and his people would not have fought and not paid zakat. Therefore you found Bilal had this dedication. Amongst the other companions who were black, who came to Islam, or of black descent, Ammar bin Yasir. Of black descent. Ammar bin Yasir's parents, Yasir and Sumayya, were the first shuhada in Islam. The first martyrs in Islam, originally slaves from the Yemen, martyrs in Islam. Ammar himself performed taqiyya. I've examined this in my lectures in previous years. He performed taqiyya because he was being tortured immensely and severely.